What is the best way in 2023, 2024 to buy a video system for your church or a live streaming setup for your church without overspending? We think we know the answer, so we're going to give you our opinion on that question today, and hopefully this video will be helpful. Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Scott. I'm from ChurchSetup.com, and today I want to address a question that I actually got from a gentleman who bought a live streaming kit from us at ChurchSetup.com. As we were talking about, what he needed, we were talking about what would work for his situation. The very last thing that he asked me was, we have a bunch of different options out there. We can buy from B&H, we can buy from a bunch of different people. Why should we buy from you? So we're going to talk about that today and talk about the 4 challenges that buying from ChurchSetup.com helps churches overcome. These 4 challenges are what we see happen over and over again in the church world. So the very first challenge that most churches face when they want to outfit their congregation with a live streaming setup or video equipment is that they lack technical knowledge, in that they don't know what they need. They don't know what will work well together. And so getting started out when you're trying to figure out, do I need this camera or that camera, this switcher, that switcher, what encoder, do I need a hardware, software? It can be very, very confusing to try to figure out exactly what you need. So one of the things that we wanted to do with Church Setup right out of the gate was remove that challenge almost completely, in that we go out and we find the pieces of equipment that work the best together, that are compatible, that work seamlessly. And that's why we build kits rather than selling individual products on our website, is because when you buy from us, it removes all of those technical questions in that, I want a 3-camera setup and I want it to be 4K. We can give you a 3-camera setup that is 4K, and you don't have to worry about, this camera not working with this switcher, or this camera not having the functionality to work with our software, because all of that is determined beforehand. And it cuts out all of the confusing mess, because there's about 1,000 different products that you can combine a million different ways. And there's really no wrong way to build a setup. I guess there could be, but there's really no wrong way to do it. There's kind of like right and more right. But what we've tried to do is find the best for the dollar, build these predetermined kits so that people can just, open the box, plug them in, and everything works. And they don't have to spend months researching different things and possibly buying something and having buyer's remorse later. So that's why we deal with kits on our website and not necessarily promoting a lot of individual products. The second challenge that we see churches face, once they decide, this is kind of where we want to go, this is the type of cameras we want Peaches E, or, they make some of those decisions, they move on to the next phase, which is actually buying the equipment. And what they find is the budget constraint comes in then, because a lot of churches that are entering into this space and lack some of that technical knowledge. One of the things that we've seen is that churches are often at the mercy of local installers, or what are called integrators. These are people that are going to come into your church, they're going to look things over, they're going to give you a bid, and they're going to come in and set up the system for you, which is really great if you can afford them. But what we have found is that the local integrators rarely understand the church space, and they're used to working with school districts, they're used to working with concert halls, they're used to working with these larger auditoriums where they can just throw money at a problem and solve it. And so they come into a church, and what we see is that their bids are usually astronomically high compared to the service that they're offering. Let me give you an example for this. We had a church come to us not very long ago, and they had they had gotten bids for people to install a 3-camera system in their church. And they got a bid from a church, from a local integrator that wanted to put in a 3-camera system based on the ATEM Mini Pro. And they gave them a quote, which is the lowest quote they got, was for $44,000. Now, there's churches that pay $150,000, $200,000 for their setups, and that's fine. This church couldn't afford $44,000. It was the lowest bid that they got. And so they were kind of just pulling their hair out, like, what are we going to do? Do we just not do it? How are we going to come up with $44,000? So they came to us and they asked us, is this normal? Is this, the price range that we could expect? And so I started looking at their bid, and what I realized is that this local integrator was setting them up with PTZ optics cameras and an ATmini Pro switcher encoder, and it wasn't much of a system at all. It was just a 3-camera system. And so we were able to match the exact same system to the exact same specs as this local integrator wanted to charge $44,000 for, and we were able to put it together for $9,000, albeit without installation. $9,000, they got the exact same equipment, they got the exact same switcher, the exact same cameras, all of that, and saved $36,000. And what most people don't understand is that when it comes to installing the kits that we provide, the hardest part is routing cables. If you have to go through the wall, if you have to go through a ceiling, suspended ceiling or whatever, that's the hardest part. Doing some work on a ladder is usually the hardest part. And what they don't realize is that, especially with our PTZ Optics kit, which is our most popular kits, what they don't realize is that once they plug in all the wires, they can contact us, and we include in all of our kits premium support for an entire year, unlimited. So what happens is they plug in the cables where they go, they contact us, we make an appointment, and then we jump on Zoom with them. We take over their computer remotely, and we can configure just about everything in their kit remotely, and they don't have to do any of that configuration. And it doesn't take that long. It takes 30 minutes, and we have them up and running. We have the exposure set, we have the cameras configured, we have their joystick configured, everything configured remotely, and all they had to do was plug in some cables. That's not worth $36,000. Just the other day, I had another company reach out to us, another church reach out to us, and they were getting a bid. Their lowest bid was $55,000. And we were able to match that for around $12,000 or $13,000. Again, the exact same equipment. All that they have to do is run cables and get us to help them configure it. And so I don't think the local installers are being dishonest. I just think that they're used to this certain markup. They mark up their labor, they mark up the parts, and they charge a certain amount, which is the going rate. However, churches need to realize that they don't have to pay that insane high price if they can just put a little bit of work or hire a local electrician to run the cables, and then we help them out. So we help them overcome that challenge as well, which is a very real challenge. But if it was up to me, I would rather pay $9,000, do a little bit of extra work, than paying $44,000 and having somebody come in and do it all for us and ending up with the exact same system. Imagine if no one in your church, no one in your circle had ever installed a picture frame. They had never hung a picture frame on the wall. They didn't know what it took. They didn't know anything about it. And so they go to a local carpenter and say, look, we have about 10 pictures that we need hung around the church. Can you please come and hang these pictures? And he comes and he looks and he says, sure, I can hang these pictures. No problem. I can have it done in a day. It's going to cost you $1,000 per picture. Well, that's $10,000. So he comes in and he pulls out a tool you've never seen before. It's a hammer. And he pulls out something else that you've never seen before. It's a nail. And he goes up to the wall and he puts a nail in the wall and he hangs the picture, and that's $1,000. He does that 10 times, charges you $10,000. And yes, you did get your pictures hung. And yes, he did do something that you didn't know how to do. But at the end of the day, he just put a nail in the wall using, a hammer. And it's that simple. And so when it comes to installing a video system, you can get as complex as you want. You can get, routing cables and having routers and plugging this in here and having a rack and all of that. And all of that is fine if you're knowledgeable in the industry and you want to geek out and you want to put all these extra pieces of hardware together. But the kits that we sell on our website, unless you get a customized system, these kits are going to be super easy to install. And routing the cables is as easy as putting a nail in the wall. And there's no reason to pay a carpenter $10,000 to put a nail in the wall when you can just run the cables yourself. It is that easy. And once you do it once, you'll realize that, wow, there is no reason to pay $36,000 for someone to do this. So don't worry about the technical doubt of we can't do this. And again, one of the things that we give all of our customers is a year's technical support free. We call it premium technical support. By appointment, they come to our website, they look at a calendar, they pick the appointment they want. We jump on Zoom, we take over their computer remotely. And then if there's a trouble or that we have to troubleshoot, if there's something that we have to configure, if there's something they don't know how to do, we show them how to do it live right there on the Zoom call, person to person. We don't outsource it to some foreign country. We don't outsource it outside of this office. You're going to be talking to me on those streams. You're going to be talking to other people on our team on those streams on those tech support calls. And that's just how we do it. We're a small company and we believe in supporting our customers directly. From the marketing perspective, your website is your first impression, and your website is your salesman that most people are dealing with. In the church world, when someone's thinking about attending your church or visiting your church for the first time, they will check you out on your website. Almost 9 times out of 10, they will check your website first. They'll check your media, they'll check your YouTube channel before walking through the door the first time. Because why? They want to know what to expect. They want to know what's going on. And some of them, they're going to judge you whether or not to come or not by what they see on your website. If you don't have anything there, they might just decide, well, it's safer not to go at all rather than to figure it out what goes on inside those 4 walls. But if you do have a website, they're going to judge you by what they see. If they come to your website and it's a disheveled guy that hasn't had a bath in 7 weeks, hasn't been updated. You got old events. You got old graphics. It looks like it was designed in 1999. They're going to judge you. You don't care. You don't care about their opinion. You don't care enough to invest in your first impression. But let's say you have a great website. They go and they check out your media. They're doing the same thing through your video. Is the video quality good? Is the audio quality good? How is their live stream? And so your live stream, your website, those things create a first impression, and you get in front of people that may never darken the doors of your church otherwise. It is your church's Tom, in other words. And so when it comes to your live streaming equipment, if someone is checking out 2 churches and they're like, I want to see, should I go visit this one? Should I go visit this one? This church over here, when they check the media, it's an iPhone in the back of the room. They can barely hear. It's fuzzy. It just does not seem like a good experience. They will think this church doesn't care. They're posting this video for no reason whatsoever because it's obvious that they don't care. This church over here has invested in video equipment. They've invested in, a quality presentation. It's the same. Disheveled guy, Tom. And Tom will close many more sales than disheveled guy. And a well-presented first impression is going to bring a lot more people through your door than just a half-hearted thing. So that's one of the things that I tell church leaders all the time is that if you want to grow, especially in the year 2023, 2024, you're going to have to put out your best impression before the people come through the door. That journey starts a long time before they shake a greeter's hand, right? Long before they see someone holding a sign in the parking lot. The journey to your church starts in their home on their computer as they investigate. They'll investigate. You don't buy anything without investigating. You don't buy anything without reading reviews, and you don't visit a church for the first time without doing investigating either. You do more investigating. You read more reviews if there are reviews. You check out the media. It's just the nature of it. And so you want to put your best foot forward. And that includes, if you're going to have a live stream, if you're going to have video content, you owe it to them and you owe it to your church to put out the best possible first impression that you can get. And so that doesn't mean that you have to spend $50,000. Does mean that you should probably plan on spending 6 to 10 and then doing a little work installing it, running some cables and then letting us help you. Yes. That's the buy-in that church leadership needs to see. It's not just about having videos. I think a lot of church leaders, they think of, video live streaming. They think about it the same way that they thought about recording cassette tapes. We used to record every service cassette tape, and then we would have piles of cassette tapes in the closet that nobody ever listened to, nobody ever cared about, but we would still be putting those tapes in the back room, right? And I think a lot of people in church that don't have buy-in, they're thinking of it in that way. If you put out a good first impression, people will come to you and you will share your message a whole lot more effectively than you think possible. It is not a closet full of cassette tapes. It is the year 2023. People are checking you out digitally before they ever come in person. And so that's why buy-in is such a big thing. You've got to believe that it's out there, and your church leadership needs to believe that it's out there and that it's worth doing. And if they will do that and invest, they don't have to invest $50,000, $150,000. They don't have to do that. But about $6,000 to $10,000, you can get a professional video system. You can get the whole kit. You don't have to pay an installer. You can do it yourself from ChurchSetup.com. And you can have a 3-camera setup, or you can have a 4-camera setup, depending on which cameras you go with. But you can have that, and you can put forth this first impression that's second to none, really. And your viewership will appreciate it. Hopefully that was informative to you. That's the answers that I gave this gentleman that asked me the other day, albeit a lot more succinctly. But that's why we think that the best way to buy a live streaming setup or a video setup for your church is through ChurchSetup.com. I know that's us, but we really believe in the equipment. We believe in the support that we offer our customers. And so if you're wondering, what our opinion was, that's our opinion. If you're wondering how to overcome some of these challenges, that's how you overcome it. And hopefully that was helpful for you. If you're interested in live streaming, you got to check us out, ChurchSetup.com. We have all-in-one kits. You can get them. We have Canon, we have PTZ Optics, we have Bird Dog, we have JVC, we have Blackmagic Design, we have kits based on computers, we have kits based on NDI, we have kits based on Mac, we have kits based on PC, we have kits based on the A10 Mini Pro, the A10 Mini Extreme. We can have 4K kits, 1080 kits, you name it. And the price range goes from about $2,500 all the way up to, you can spend $50,000, $60,000 on some Canon cameras if you want, and get top of the line. But anyway, you can go check us out. Our kits are all in one. There's 2 things that are not included in our kit. The first one is an audio source, which would be your church's PA system. The second one is your internet service. We can't provide that. We can't provide your audio source. However, if you have a PA system and you have an internet connection, everything else is included in the box. You take it out, you plug it in according to the diagram, and then you get us on the phone. We will configure it for you if you can't figure it out yourself. And you're up and live streaming in a matter of hours or minutes. So hopefully that was helpful, and we look forward to winning your business. And thank you for watching. If you watch this far, please like and subscribe to this video, make a comment, ask us any questions you want. We'll try to answer them, and we'll see you on the next video.